Please state your name for the record and spell it as well.
Officer Nathan Render, R-E-N-D-E-R.
You may proceed.
Calling yourself officer, but at one time were you Detective Nathan Render?
That is correct.
All right. Tell us what you do for a living.
I'm currently employed with the Albuquerque Police Department in the Field Services Bureau.
What was your job on March 16th, 2014 with APD?
I was assigned to the Major Crime Scene Team in the Criminalistics Unit.
What does it mean to be assigned to the Major Crime Scene Team? What do you do in that role?
Major Crime Scene Team is a group of detectives that does crime scene investigation for major crimes, which include officer-involved shootings, homicides, suspicious deaths, things like that.
When you, in that role that you had back in 2014, when you're alerted to the fact that there's a crime scene that you need to go to, how does that happen?
I'm contacted by the supervisor on duty. It could be field investigator or any of the on-call supervisors. I get the call, tells me where the location is, and I then proceed to get the crime van and head to that location.
Did you get such a call relating to the shooting of Mr. James Boyd on March 16, 2014?
I did.
What did you do when you first got that call that there was a scene you needed to go to?
I gathered my equipment, headed to the crime lab, picked up the mobile crime van, and drove it to the scene.
When you got to the scene, did you get a briefing from anybody?
I did.
From whom?
There were several individuals, including Sergeant Carpenter, Officer Weimerskirch with the K-9 unit. And there may have been others, I can't recall.
Where did you hold that initial briefing at the scene?
The briefing was held inside a garage.
Was that the garage of Mr. Alexander Fixton?
I believe so.
Is one of your job duties as the primary criminalistic detectives at a scene to oversee the collection and identification of evidence?
Yes.
How do you do that?
I work with other detectives from the unit, again, to process whether it be a person or the actual scene itself, through our training experience, identifying items of evidentiary value and collecting them.
Does that include, once you collect evidence, do you photograph it?
Yes.
Why do you do that?
We photograph it several times throughout the process. Once it is identified as a potential piece of evidence, it's photographed in its place as we locate it. It's then identified with an indicator. It uses a letter and a number to identify that particular piece of evidence, where it's photographed again before it's collected.
When you get to a scene, do you also need to process the people involved?
Yes.
What does that mean to process the people?
Any individual identified is brought into the crime van where they're photographed as they are, and then we try to identify anything of evidentiary value on that person for it to be collected.
Do you process the police officers on the scene?
If it's involved a officer-involved shooting, yes.
Why do you do that?
Again, to document them as they are and collect anything of evidentiary value.
Why is it important to document them as they are?
As it sometimes takes time before these things come to trial, so it's just a way to document them that day at that time.
How do you process the officers? What does that mean?
So we start by, again, photographing them with and without a card identifying who that person is.
I'm just going to stop you. What do you mean a card? It's something that you hold?
Yes. Again, it has the name and identifying information for a particular person, whether it be an officer or not. Again, they're photographed with and without that card. All four sides, generally their hands, and then if we notice anything of value, we'll photograph that specifically.
When you're processing officers, do you also photograph their weapons on their person at the time?
Yes.
Why do you do that?
Again, it's just to document them.
Do you also photograph their ammunition?
Yes.
Why do you do that?
Again, to document them as they are.
All right. Did you, in your investigation or in your processing of the scene involving the shooting of Mr. Boyd, process defendant Sandy?
I did not know.
All right. Was he processed as part of the criminalistic team?
He was.
And what does that mean? So did he have the photographs taken?
He did.
I'd like to show you State's Exhibit 32C 2 and 32C1 and ask you if you've seen these photographs before.
I have.
What, and I'll just ask you about this one, what is State's 32C2 showing?
32C2 is a metal magazine for a rifle, and it's ammunition.
And is that for defendant Sandy's rifle?
Yes.
Apparently, State moves into evidence 32C2.
Check relevance, Your Honor. Join, Your Honor.
It's the ammunition that we had at the time of
Objection to speaking response.
Sustained. Sustaining the objection.
To the ammunition. All right. Did you also process Mr. Perez at the scene?
I did not know.
Was he processed at the scene?
Yes.
Were photographs taken of the ammunition that he had?
Yes.
Were those collected and maintained as part of the processing of the scene of the shooting of Mr. Boyd?
The photographs?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And, Your Honor, we would move that into evidence as well, but I understand Your Honor's ruling.
37C3?
That is 32, I'm sorry, yes, let's see. Mr. Perez's is 37 C3 and C4.
For the same objection, Your Honor. 401, Your Honor.
Sustained.
In addition to processing Mr. Sandy and Mr. Perez, did you process all the officers who were at the scene that evening?
They were processed, yes.
Did you also process Alexander Fixton?
He was brought into the crime van, yes.
Did he have a weapon at the time he was processed?
Objection to relevance. Join, Your Honor.
Sustained. That's the Fixton.
Okay. Once you finished processing all of the officers at the scene and Mr. Fixton, were you able to go out to the scene of the shooting?
We started to, however, I decided not to continue to the scene.
Why was that?
It was, I believe it was approximately 1 o'clock in the morning, and in the foothill open space area, there are no lights, so it was dark, and I didn't want to go to the scene with just a flashlight in the event that I accidentally, or someone on my team accidentally disturbed anything that might be evidentiary out there.
So what did you do?
We waited until it started becoming lighter outside. The sun started to come up.
All right. And one thing I didn't ask you is, did you also collect the rifles that Defendant Perez and Defendant Sandy had at the time of the shooting?
They were collected, yes,
Why were those collected?
to obtain test fires
Were those
and
obtained?
processed.
I'm sorry. Were those obtained?
Objection asked.
I think she's asking if the test fires were done.
Correct.
So overall.
The rifles were submitted to the firearms unit to perform those tests.
When you went up to the scene to process the scene the next morning, what did you first do when you're processing the scene?
Before anybody enters the scene, the secondary criminalistic detective goes into the scene to photograph it again as it is, before anybody goes in to, if anything's moved or accidentally touched. It's documented again as it is prior to us performing our search.
Right. Do you also look for physical evidence around the scene to help indicate what might have happened at the time?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's already been admitted as 57B. I'll ask you, is that a photograph taken at the scene the morning after the shooting?
It is.
Right. Is this a photograph? Well, tell us what we're looking at during this photograph.
There was a large rock towards the northern end of the area that we were searching that had several areas that were discolored. There appeared to be marks which we believe to be bullet impacts.
All right. Mary may have the Elmo. When you processed the scene, but why did you believe these to be bullet impacts?
Again, the discoloration and what appeared to be circular damage to the rock itself.
All right. And then I'm going to show you 57C, which has also been admitted into evidence. Is that the same rock without the bullet impact indicators?
It is.
Can you point on your screen to what you see as the bullet impact indicators on this rock?
The impacts that we were indicating?
Yes, sir.
A little dark. Unfortunately, it doesn't want to.
Doesn't want to work for you? There you go.
There it is.
All right. What is on top of the rock?
In the
Oh,
first
sorry.
picture?
Yep, this one. What's this? Oh, do you want to erase it? I'll show you. Double
I
click. Oh, you got it.
definitely-
Yep.
That is a target we use for our 3D laser scanner to help combine different scans into one larger scan.
Okay. When you were at the scene, did you also come across a black bag that Mr. Boyd had on his person at the time of the shooting?
There was a small black bag found at the scene.
Did you look at or was the bag collected?
It was.
Were its contents examined?
They were.
Did you find any weapons in that bag?
No.
Did you find any bullet defects in that bag?
There was.
Tell us about that.
There's a defect near the top that perforated all of the items inside, so there were no projectiles or fragments located. It was just the damage caused by the bullet passing through.
When you processed the scene, did you look for any evidence did you look for illicit drugs or illegal drugs?
We looked through all the items.
Did you look at the clothing or was Mr. Boyd's clothing analyzed in processing of the scene?
Objection, relevance, Your Honor. Clothing on him?
All of the
Maybe
clothing
you
on him?
On him?
Yes.
Any objection?
This witness relevance.
Overruled.
Do you take photographs or are photographs taken of Mr. Boyd's clothing?
There was clothing collected and photographed.
I understand you have your report up there. Did you look at a white T-shirt that Mr. Boyd was wearing at the time of the shooting?
Yes.
When you analyzed and processed the scene of his clothing, what defects did you notice in his left chest area?
May I refer to the report?
Yes.
There were just defects in the material itself, whether it be from wear and tear or some object damaging the material.
All right, let's look at what's been admitted as 57R. We're talking about the defect here.
It's hard to see on the screen.
Yes. All right. When you noted in your report there was a defect to the left, or what did you note in your report was the defect?
It's just there was a defect in the left chest area.
Okay. I'm going to ask you now about the black V-neck T-shirt, which is on the next page. Did you notice any defects on that shirt?
Just refer to my report.
This photo is similarly unhelpful. But why don't you tell us what's on your report about what you noticed in that shirt?
As far as the chest area, there was a defect near the center.
Okay. Did you also process a gray and red long sleeve T-shirt?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, a gray and long sleeve shirt.
Yes.
All right. What of any significance did you find in that shirt?
There were defects on the right front chest where a pocket was,
Okay.
and in that defect was a copper jacket bullet fragment.
Okay. Did you also look at a gray hooded Gap brand sweatshirt?
Yes.
Okay. What defects, this is admitted as 57X, what defects did you find in the gray hooded Gap brand sweatshirt?
There were several defects, a larger defect on the left chest area.
Okay. Were there any defects on the arms?
I may refer to my report.
Yes.
There were several defects to both sleeves, both near the top and the bottom.
You found no evidence of any illegal activity in his camp, did you?
Leading and relevance. Join Your Honor.
All right. Can you can't tell which items in his camp or in that camp where he was situated were his or those that belonged to somebody else, could you?
Objection, relevance, Your Honor. Relevance and speculation, Your Honor.
I don't know what property belonged to what individual.
Okay. And so we're fair. Did you also find and process the knives that Mr. Boyd had in his possession at the time?
Yes.
That he had in his hands at the time? This will be State's Exhibit 18D. No. All right, 18D, are these the photographs of the two knives that were in Mr. Boyd's hands at the time he was shot?
Yes.
There's a Post-it note there. What's on that Post-it note?
Post-it note indicates the case number the item is referring to, the indicator of the item, the date, and my initials.
Nathan Render.
Yes.
State moves 18D into evidence, Your Honor.
No objection. No objection.
18 B is admitted.
And we have the actual knives here. Ask you to identify these.
Those are the knives we collected from the scene.
We moved K2 and K3, I'm sorry, Your Honor, we moved 19B1 and 19B2 into evidence.
No objection. No objection.
19 B1 and 19 B2 are admitted.
It's one of the other things you do when you process a scene is to collect video and audio footage from the officers.
When processing an officer-involved case, yes.
Why do you do that?
Again, so we can maintain chain of custody as far as any audio or video from that officer.
Did you get, did Mr. Perez turn in his video recording of the shooting?
Yes.
When you obtained the SD card from Mr. Sandy, was anything on his audio or video recording?
I don't believe anything was from the incident.
You have a moment, Your Honor? One thing that I didn't ask, was there one more knife at the scene, not in Mr. Boyd's hand, but another knife at the scene?
Yes.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 19B3. And ask you to identify that, please.
That is the third knife we located at the scene.
Okay. One moment. Ordinarily, when processing a scene, do you try to reconstruct it to figure out which guns were involved and where they shot?
We do our best to try to figure out, given the evidence, what may have or may not have occurred.
Why did you not do that in this case?
There were a few too many unknowns for me to determine exactly what happened.
Okay. Did you attempt to interview Mr. Sandy and Mr. Perez?
Ordinarily, criminalistics detectives do not interview any witnesses or anybody involved. We specifically look at the scene and the evidence.
Did you use any lasers to try to determine the trajectory of any bullets?
We did utilize a 3D laser scanner,
Mm-hmm.
but again, as far as trying to determine exactly where officers were standing, where Mr. Boyd was standing at that given time, with the information I had, I did not feel comfortable doing that.
And you had the video, is that right? From Mr. Perez?
There was, yes.
All right. May we approach on what they found at the scene, the activity? I'd like to make a record on that. Detective Render, we were talking about trying to determine what happened at the scene. Here, you said you had a video, is that right, of what happened?
Yes.
Did you have access to the statements of the two officers involved in the shooting?
I believe I could have talked to Detective Stone, yes.
Who was the prime
Right.
investigating detective?
He was the case agent, yes.
All right. As the primary criminalistics detective, did you have the ability to try to set up lasers and see where these rifles shot?
Generally, when we use lasers to determine where shots are either coming from or going to, we need 2 points. So say a bullet passed through a wall, you have the hole on one side and the hole on the other side. That would indicate the trajectory. We did not have that at this scene.
When you have shootings that occur outside in other cases, do you attempt to figure out who shot and from what direction?
Objection, relevance, Your Honor.
I mean, we can determine generally where somebody is standing, but as far as the specific trajectory, if we don't have 2 points of reference, I don't feel comfortable making that determination.
If you have a shooting outside where 2 people shot one person, you wouldn't feel comfortable making an assessment about which gun shot in which direction on that person, is that right?
I don't know if I understand your question.
Okay, let me try to
Or-
fix it. In a different case, in a regular different case, if you have a shooting that occurs outside and you have 2 people who shoot 2 different firearms, one person gets shot, are you saying that you're not comfortable figuring out which shot came from which firearm?
As far as injuries on the person,
Yes.
no.
And for that reason, did you attempt to figure out which officer shot which part of Mr. Boyd's body in this case?
I did not, no.
Detective Renner, do you know how to do trajectory analysis?
Given certain situations, yes.
It's possible to exclude certain possibilities based on your trajectory analysis?
Yes.
For example, if I'm standing over here and somebody has a shot on Ms. McGinn's right arm, you can exclude me as somebody having fired that shot, is that right?
Checked on relevance grounds, and he hasn't been recognized as an expert.
Detective, I know you work at the Albuquerque Police Department. Would it have been uncomfortable for you to talk about whether or not a fellow officer who you work with shot in a particular direction?
Your Honor, objection, relevance. Join, Your Honor.
Would I feel uncomfortable due to the fact that it is a member of the Albuquerque Police Department that did the shooting?
Yes, sir.
No.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if you could change it to the podium VGA. Excuse me? No, the VGA for the podium I think should be an option. Good afternoon, Detective Rinder.
Afternoon.
I want to start by talking to you about your background very briefly. You began working in law enforcement in 2008, correct?
So when I joined the Albuquerque Police Department, yes.
Okay. And you actually became a detective in APD's criminalistics unit in 2012, correct?
Correct.
And that's November of 2012.
Correct.
And at the time of this incident, on March 16th of 2014, you'd been working in law enforcement for roughly 6 years, correct?
Correct.
And you'd been a detective in the criminalistics unit for approximately 2 years.
Maybe a year and a half-ish.
Okay, so you'd been a detective in the criminalistics unit for roughly a year and a half.
Yes.
And you mentioned that you were the primary criminalistics detective on the major crime scene team that was involved in this incident, correct?
Yes.
So you oversaw the major crime scene team that investigated the officer-involved shooting of James Boyd.
Yes.
Now, the major crime, one of the tasks of the major crime scene team, as it was in this case, is to actually investigate the officer-involved shootings that take place, correct?
Correct.
And during your time prior to the March 16th, 2014 incident, you had investigated officer-involved shootings, correct?
Correct.
And based on your experience, there is no difference between the way you investigate an officer-involved shooting and a non-officer-involved shooting, correct?
Correct.
And to the best of your ability, you investigate both of those types of shootings in the exact same manner, correct?
Correct.
As you mentioned, as the primary criminalistics detective on this incident, you were the person in charge of investigating what happened on March 16, 2014, correct?
As far as the crime scene is concerned, yes.
And you were responsible for collecting evidence, correct?
Correct.
And you also were responsible for overseeing the rest of your team and their collection of the evidence, correct?
Correct.
And you were dispatched to the incident around 8 p.m., correct?
Shortly before, I believe.
Okay. 5 minutes before, maybe 7:55?
I'd have to refer to my report
Okay.
for an exact time, but
Shortly before is that is fine. And when you arrived at the scene, it was dark, correct?
yes.
And after you attended the briefing, you and your team decided to wait until morning's light to actually collect the evidence at the scene. Is that correct?
To process the scene, yes.
Okay. And that's because you didn't want to mistakenly miss something or possibly step on something that could be relevant to your investigation, correct?
Correct.
And during your investigation in this case, you and your team took over 800 photographs, correct?
There was a large number.
Does over 800 sound about right?
Could be.
There were roughly 100 pieces of physical evidence that were collected in this case.
There were a large number.
And you also mentioned that a 3D scan was taken, is that correct?
Correct.
And this 3D scan basically captures a 3D image of the entire scene around where the shooting took place. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Now, I would like to talk to you about several items of evidence that were actually collected in this case, and I'd like to start with the actual knives that were collected. And as the state mentioned in their direct examination, based on your investigation and review of the evidence in this case, you know that Mr. James Boyd was holding two knives at the time he was shot. Is that correct?
Correct.
And those knives have been admitted into evidence as 19B1 and 19B2. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay. And Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd like Detective Rinder to first take the knives out of the bag and then walk towards the jury with them so I can talk to him about the knives.
Do you need purple left?
I-
Back over there.
I object, I think you show them wearing.
Place this sticker on what is marked, it states 19B1. So this is 19B2. If you'll go ahead and cut that zip tie and then walk down, we'll show the jury that.
Did you bring another pair of scissors?
Yeah, those aren't so great. You might borrow this next.
Let's see if these work. You can wait to open it until we get over here. Probably the safest way to do things. Now, based on your understanding, that is one of the knives that James Boyd was holding at the time shots were fired on March 16th, 2014.
Right.
Before we open it, I want to talk to you about a couple of things on the outside of the knife. I noticed that there's a silver clip on the outside of the knife, correct?
Correct.
What is that used for?
And it's to secure it to a pocket, a belt,
Okay. And based on your understanding, can that be secured when the blade is open using that clip?
Yes.
Okay. If you turn the knife over, there's a large knob that's protruding from the blade. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And it appears that knob has some type of texture on it. Is that correct?
Correct.
And based on your understanding, what is that knob used for?
To assist in opening the blade.
Okay. And if you could, please show the jury how you can open that knife using that knob on the side. Now, based on your review of the evidence in this case, the blade on this knife was approximately 3.5 inches long, correct?
I'd have to look at the photograph of
Does that sound fair to you? Okay. And if you'll show the jury, a good portion of that blade is actually serrated, correct?
the majority of it is yes.
Okay. And that blade ends in a sharp point, correct?
Correct.
And now when you opened it, I heard a click.
Yes.
As if it locked into place. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So this knife is a locking blade, correct?
Correct.
And a locking blade knife is meant to stay open, no matter if it hits something or stabs something. It won't fold or it won't fold on your fingers, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And to actually release the locking mechanism on this knife, you have to depress the silver portion that's on the back of that knife. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I notice on the top of this knife, there's also some serrations there, correct?
There's texture on the grip.
Okay. And what's that texture for? If you know.
To help hold the knife.
Okay. To maintain a grip of the knife.
Yes.
Okay. There's also finger grooves on the black portion of this knife. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And to avoid wasting anyone's time, is it fair to say that the other knife that James Boyd was holding at the time of this incident was exactly identical to this knife?
Yes.
There were no differences between those two knives based on your examination?
Not that I can see.
And you mentioned that Officer Dominic Perez's video, his helmet cam, the video from that was collected in this case.
Yes.
And you had a chance to review that?
Yes.
And based on your review of that video, James Boyd was holding those two knives at the time shots were fired at him, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, he was holding those two knives and assumed a fighting stance immediately before he was shot. Is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor, can we scope and 403, 401, and cause for speculation?
It appeared Mr. Boyd holding both knives, blades up, arms out to the side, in the direction of the officers.
And when you say blade up, can you please demonstrate what you mean? Okay, so, and there would be another one in your other hand, is that correct?
Correct.
And that's how you observed him holding the knives?
Yes.
Immediately before he was shot.
Yes.
And it's fair to say that based on your review of the video and the notes you took on that video, you believe that he assumed a fighting stance with those two knives immediately before he was shot.
Excuse me, Your Honor, objection asked and answered, and this witness said he didn't do a recreation, so he's not saying anything that the jury can't see by watching the video themselves, to the extent that he's saying something inaccurate.
Sustain.
Okay. If you'd like, close up the knife and you can take a seat. I guess we can put this zip tie on the knife. Now, Detective Render, in the course of your investigation in this case, you actually swabbed both of those knives for biological evidence, correct?
I did.
And you swabbed them so they could be tested for DNA, correct?
If someone deemed it necessary, yes.
Okay. And during the course of your investigation in this case, it was so clear that Mr. Boyd was holding those knives that you didn't even test them for that biological evidence, correct?
That is correct.
There was no question he was holding them at the time he was shot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, there was a third knife that Mr. Boyd had on his person at the time he was shot. Is that correct?
Correct.
And it was a similar folding knife. Is that correct?
And that was a folding knife, yes.
Okay. Now, in addition to the knives Mr. Boyd had, he also had a canister of mace. Is that correct?
There was a can, yes.
Excuse me?
There was a canister
Okay.
of pepper spray.
And that canister was collected into evidence, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to hand you what has been marked as Defendant Perez's Exhibit E38. Now, what is depicted in the photograph that I've just handed you?
It's the canister of pepper spray in the holster that we found at the scene.
Okay. And is that a fair and accurate representation of the canister of mace in the holster as it was at the scene?
Yes.
At the time you investigated?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move Defendant Perez's E38 into evidence.
Any objection? E38 is amended.
And Your Honor, if you will, again, if you'll try transferring it to podium VGA, it's not. Oh, there it is. Now, Detective Render, is this the photograph that you just looked at? And you can see it right to your right there.
Yes.
And that is Mr. Boyd's can of mace as it was found at the scene. Is that correct?
Correct.
I'm going to show you one additional photograph, which has been marked for identification purposes as Defendant Perez's E39. What's depicted in that photograph that I've just shown you?
It's the canister, the holder that I photographed at the crime lab.
Okay, so that's a photograph of the can of mace out of the holster at the evidence lab. Is that correct?
Correct.
And is it a fair and accurate representation of the photograph you took of that canister of mace?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move Defendant Perez's E39.
I would just say it's cumulative. The photograph's already in, that they just utilize them in the actual county cases available as well.
I'm not sure about that.
Your Honor, I can provide you with a copy if that is easier. Okay.
E39 will be amended.
Now, is this the photograph that I just showed you?
Yes.
And this is a photograph of Mr. Boyd's mace outside of the holster it was in, correct?
Correct.
And on the side of this canister, it says neutralizer. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And during the course of your investigation in this case, you discovered that this can of mace wasn't actually functioning. Is that correct?
Correct.
And how did you come to that determination?
I took it outside and pressed the button on top.
And it didn't work.
Then nothing came out.
And before you did that, though, you would not have known that it wasn't functioning. Is that correct?
Correct.
Until you pressed that button down, you assumed that it was a functioning can of mace. Is that correct?
Correct.
And based on your investigation in this case, there is no doubt in your mind that that's the can of mace that belonged to James Boyd, correct?
Correct.
And that's the can of mace that James Boyd threatened officers with. Is that correct?
I'm not aware of that.
Now, as part of your investigation in this case, you mentioned that Officer Dominic Perez was processed for evidence, correct?
Correct.
Now, Officer Perez was processed for evidence in the crime van at approximately 9:04 p.m. Is that correct?
Counsel, let me stop you there, because it's 5 o'clock, and I'm just wondering if this is a good place to start, because it seems like you're transitioning into another area.
Absolutely, Your Honor.